Welcome to this here video. Today I'm going to be explaining why I haven't been playing Overwatch for quite a while actually. And to be quite honest, the reason why is because I'm not happy with the changes that they've been deciding to make as of lately. I understand they're trying to make the game better, but it's really most specifically two changes that they made. And I've already gone over one of them. Reaper's change, where they changed his passive. To basically just being a life steal. It doesn't fit Reaper's character. It doesn't fit. And most recently, the change they made to Mercy. And the reason why is that, for one, they put her original ultimate as a cooldown move. And they also limited it to one. Which I don't agree with at all. For multiple reasons. One, the ability to resurrect someone feels like it should be worked towards, not automatically had every 30 seconds. Second of all, because it's still such a powerful move, it has the longest cooldown in the game now out of any cooldown move. Once something reaches a 30-second cooldown, it should just automatically be placed as an ultimate. And third of all, in certain games, I feel like I should have my resurrect quicker than the 30-second cooldown. Because I'm doing my job properly. And a good Mercy, even a decent Mercy, can get her ultimate charged in less time than Resurrect's cooldown it currently sits at. Not only that, the new ultimate Valkyrie, just everything involved in it. Everything involved in it. Just it doesn't seem like something that a game producer created. It seems like one of them went home to their 6-year-old kid, told them everything about this character, or showed them everything about Mercy, and said, what would you change about this character to make them better? And the result is the ultimate that the kid came up with. Why? Because you could do the same thing to any other character. And that's the ultimate a 6-year-old would come up with. What should their ultimate ability be? Increased damage. Making them harder to kill. Give them the ability to fly. With Mercy, she has her staff that produces a beam of healing or a beam of damage boost. Why not make it so that she can give that to every teammate. I remember coming up with concepts like this when I was 6. It doesn't seem like an actual ultimate ability. It seems like her new ultimate is what could be on a cooldown. Reduce some of the effects, make it slightly less, lessen its duration. And you can put it on a 15-second cooldown. And you'd increase Mercy's capabilities just by that much. And you'd put her at the same place that she's at now, while keeping her old ultimate as her ultimate. This new ultimate doesn't feel like an ultimate. Alright. Just to kind of show you what I'm talking about.
I'll be watching over you.
First of all, I'm sorry. I got used to playing games that you can aim with. So, we got a regular healing and all that. Everything's normal, except I feel like I didn't do anything to be able to do that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Literally, I can just sit here, and by the time he dies again, I'm almost capable of just resurrecting him. Yep. I hit the wrong button because I'm not used. Like I said, I haven't played that much since the change because I don't agree with this change at all. I really don't. And now, oh, would you look at that? Now I can heal the both of them. Give him damage boost. Give damage boost to both of them. Infinite ammo. Oh, would you look at that? I feel like I'm living in the fantasy of 6-year-old me with that ultimate. I don't feel like see, this is what I prefer. I prefer having to switch who I'm healing constantly. That doesn't, the ultimate doesn't feel ultimate. The most ultimate thing about it is if I pull out my pistol, I become extremely dangerous. Which she already is. See. Doesn't take that long to acquire your ultimate. You play properly and it doesn't take that long to get your ultimate. It really doesn't. Allow me to just fly up here Look, I can fly. Any character that can fly is a 6-year-old's imagining of an ultimate character. A character that has infinite ammo and never has to reload. It's a 6-year-old's imagining of an ultimate character. I don't feel like I'm playing an actual ultimate character. I feel like I'm playing a 6-year-old's imaginings made real. Not that that's not a good thing, but it's not for this character. I'd honestly prefer them revert Mercy back to the way she was. They wanted to think of a way to make Mercy better. Make her have the best solo healing in the game. Single target healing. Make her the best single target healer. Why? Because if she can heal a single target really quickly, she could be a solo healer, which would allow you to have a more diverse team comp. You could have team comps with only one healer, no other source of healing. And then you'd add more diversity to what that you want to have more diversity and not a set specific team comp. That's how you do it. Make Mercy a solo healer. You can change how people work. Characters that don't seem to get too much use, you'll see more often. Characters that have niche uses will be able to be used more often without being criticized. Everyone criticizes somebody who uses Hanzo in competitive. Well, if you had a single healer that could do the work of two, then you could have more people freely playing Hanzo all they want. Why? Because Hanzo is now a viable pick because there's no specific meta. I mean, I do like a 2-2-2 meta, I really do. But the problem with the 2-2-2 meta as it is there's so many must picks that the must picks basically determine the meta. You must pick this character and this character. Well, that means you also must pick these characters because the enemy team is going to pick these characters. I don't like that. I want diversity. I want people constantly. I want what the game originally started off as, where people don't know what's going to work best for the match. So they're constantly picking and choosing things that work, things that are different. They're figuring out what works for them in certain situations and they're going with it. I love Mercy, I really do, but I don't love this Mercy. This is not the Mercy that I love. This is a 6-year-old's imagining of what Mercy could be. I have not seen any other character get up there. I haven't even been up there as Widowmaker. If that kind of adds on to... Can Widowmaker even get up there?
One shot, one kill.
I'm sure I could get up there as Winston, but See, because of the changes they made to Mercy. Now this may seem like a good thing, but because of the changes they made to Mercy, I discovered a new place in this training arena that I didn't know you could get to. That may seem like a good thing, but Mercy is not supposed to be this goddess of a character that you can use to get places that are hard to reach to. She's a healer. She goes where she's needed. If you're flying up in the sky trying to heal your team, you're not doing your job. You're making yourself an easier target. Why? Because you're not with your team, you're away from your team. The job of a healer is to be hard to get at. When you're Mercy and you're flying above your team, healing them, using your ultimate, you're making yourself an easier target. Yeah, you may be kind of hard to trace because you have quite a high speed. But you're still an easier target because 9 times out of 10, unless there's a Pharah in the sky, they have nothing else to look up and shoot at.
No one can hide from my sight.
I don't agree with these changes, and these changes are actually enough to make me not want to play Overwatch.
Adieu.
So I've taken an extremely long break from Overwatch. I still don't know if I'm ready to play it or not. I really do not agree with these changes, and it may seem kind of childish to just stop playing the game, but I've literally lost enjoyment in even thinking about playing the game because of the changes they've made. Oops. Mercy is no longer Mercy. She is the imaginings of a 6-year-old, not the brilliant minds of Overwatch developers. They wanted to change Mercy. I give them points for creativity on it. But I kind of expected something better and more true to amazing developers.
No one can hide from my
Not what they
sight.
came up with. Because in all honesty, there's not really very many other supports that synergize well with Mercy. Mercy's always worked best as a solo healer in my eyes. Maybe with somebody to pick up on the healing after she gets killed. And also don't let the shots that I'm taking off as Widowmaker right now fool you. I suck as Widowmaker. Alright. This is the training area. Everything's too easy to kill here. The training area can make anyone look like a god. I spent a lot of time talking about the Mercy changes, but the Reaper changes fit about the same profile. I'm not a fan of the Reaper changes. Reaper lost his identity as Death Incarnate. He now heals himself every time he does that. Look, I'm at full health again. Why? Because I just shot you. I just shoot things and I heal. Those souls that dropped, if you even remember this anymore, the souls that used to drop when Reaper killed things for the burst healing fit his kit better even. It fit his personality better. Reaper is not Reaper anymore. Reaper doesn't feel like Reaper. Mercy doesn't feel like Mercy. I don't play Reaper anymore. I'll come here and I'll play him, because here there's not much of a difference between old him and new him, or current him. Can't really call it new him because he's been out for a while. There's not much difference when you're here. You can play anyone and be good with them here. There's a reason I switched to Genji. And the reason is I don't play Genji. In competitive, at least. Why? Because I don't feel I'm good enough with Genji. But you know what? When I'm here, I can play Genji no problem. And still feel like I'm good with him. Why? Because I can get kill after kill. I don't have to use his deflect. I get way more kills with his ultimate here than I would in an actual game. This training area can make anyone feel like a god with any character. I don't like that they're trying to put a higher skill cap on heroes. I don't. That was their whole purpose behind the Mercy changes. Behind a lot of the Diva changes that they've been making. I've heard a lot of people saying that the reason why they're making a lot of the changes that they're making now is to increase the skill cap of playable characters. Well, that's nice and all, but it doesn't matter how old or how new the game is. You're still gonna have people who are playing for the first time. People who need introductory characters. Mercy was a really good introductory character. Now with the changes that you've made to her, me being relatively skilled in just in just playing Mercy in general, I can easily adjust to the changes. But somebody who's new to the game, you increased the skill cap on an easy character. A character that I would have normally suggested to somebody for learning purposes. Mercy is a good introductory healer, so is Lucio. Well, anymore, I'd only suggest Lucio. Why? Because they've changed how Mercy works. She's such a high impact character now with the changes that she's made, or that's been made to her. By the way, that's still more kills than I normally get with Dragon Blade, so I'm happy with that. They've put her at, they've given her such a high skill cap now that I can only suggest playing Lucio for first time players for healer if they want to play somebody that heals. And I think it's actually kind of wrong to be increasing the skill cap of these characters. Because you need characters that people new to the game can get into. These easier to play characters that they can use to introduce themselves to the game. Junkrat, they changed Junkrat, but Junkrat's still capable of being called an introductory character. I mean, the changes that they've made to him, I don't think I've noticed much, really, from what I have played. I mean, they didn't really make too noticeable of changes. It probably, if you get into the higher rankings of competitive, it's more noticeable. But in quick play and my levels of competitive, I don't notice those changes. Changes like that, changes that are barely noticeable, those changes I can agree with, but changes where you're completely changing who the character is, I don't think I can agree with those changes. And they've made so many of those changes as of recently that I've lost interest in the game. When they made it so that Junkrat could no longer kill himself, I thought about quitting the game there. Why? Because they've done that to 2 characters now. Junkrat can no longer kill himself, and D.Va can no longer kill herself. I predicted that we were going to get more of those changes in the future when they did that to D.Va. Although, I didn't anticipate it happening to Junkrat. But now there are other characters who can damage themselves that have the potential of having that changed, and eventually they may just take self-damage completely out of the game, which I don't agree with, because self-damage is part of what adds difficulty to the character. If it wouldn't have been for the fact that D.Va could kill herself with her ultimate, we wouldn't have been introduced to the D.Va bomb launching. people would just be walking in as D.Va in the middle of a fight. Just standing on the payload and activating her ultimate and getting team wipes from it. Why? Because everyone's so focused on the battle at hand that they don't realize that the D.Va has demeched. Or if they do realize, they don't realize that it was for a self-destruct. And in all honesty, they could probably bring back the fact that D.Va can kill herself with her ultimate, not tell us, and nobody would know. Why? Because everyone launches their mech. And even if they don't launch their mech, they still try to get out of the blast radius. Because if they're in the blast radius, they can get killed by somebody. And then they're having to respawn. And that puts your team down one person for the next team fight. So they're still playing like their mech's self-destructing, even though they know that it isn't. Other characters that they can take away this self-damage from. Soldier 76, if he helix rockets too close, he can possibly kill himself if he's down low enough in health. Who else? Farah. Farah can kill herself by blowing herself up. Junkrat used to be able to. D.Va used to be able to kill herself. Tracer can kill herself with her pulse bomb. Any character that has some form of explosive at one point used to be able to kill themselves with the explosions. They've taken it away from 2, there's only 3 left, and it's just a matter of time before the Overwatch community gets a big uproar saying, oh, but you did it to these characters, why don't you do it to this character, or this character, or this character? I thought when they took away D.Va's ability to kill herself with her ultimate, the first thing that they would do afterwards would be to do the same thing to Tracer. I don't agree with not being able to kill yourself or do damage to yourself with explosive damage. On a character that deals it. Why? Because that's part of what adds difficulty to the character. And if we look into these characters, you see the difficulty in a number of stars. 1, 2, or 3. Easy, medium, hard. Hard to master. Easy to master. I will say, Bastion is a good choice for somebody just learning how to play the game. D.Va, 2 stars, medium. Anymore, I'd say they're trying to get her to a 3-star rating so that she's difficult to play. This is one of the few changes that they've made recently that I do agree with, though, adding the micro missiles. I also don't agree with them making changes and not updating this at all, because as you can see, the only updates that they've made are to just get rid of videos for things that don't work the same way. They don't update. And see, that no longer happens to Diva. That's the thing. This has not been updated since it was first made. Diva was still in the blast radius. She took damage and she got knocked back. As you can see, they don't update that. That no longer happens to her. She can stand inside her mech still and not take any damage or move. Stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. The changes that they're making, they're trying to increase the skill level of these characters. Tracer, 2-star. Yes, I can agree with that. Mercy, what do they have her put down as? Difficulty, a single star, easy. Granted, she is still a rather easy character, but I don't agree that she anymore can be classified as easy. Her basic setups are easy, yes. However, Resurrect is hard to master, and with it being on a cooldown, just because it's on a cooldown automatically means that, oh, it's something that I can just spam. It doesn't matter when I use it so long as I use it. Any ability on a cooldown is automatically seen as one of the abilities that don't matter. Why? Because they're on a cooldown. They'll come back. I can use it again later. But when you have to charge your ability, like your ultimate, then people aren't so willing to use it so freely. Even when I'm playing as Tracer, and the character that gets her ultimate the quickest, I still find myself holding on to my ultimate, waiting for a good opportunity to use it. Sometimes even forgetting that I even have it. Reaper, just kind of curious. Reaper is not an easy character to play. And you see, just to kind of put into perspective here, what I mean by his passive does not fit his kit. Shadow Step, teleport to a targeted location. Wraith Form, move faster and become invulnerable, but you cannot shoot. His Hellfire shotguns. Shotguns. These are shotguns. These are close range. You can deal a lot of damage with a shotgun. Healing yourself with that damage doesn't make much sense. Shadow Step, teleport to a targeted location. Why would you want to do that if you're trying to get into a position to be an assassin? He is an assassin character, not a upfront take damage character. Wraith Form, move faster and become invulnerable. Why would you want that? Because you got into the enemy backline, took out a key target, the enemy noticed, turned on you, and now you need to get out of there. The ultimate, Death Blossom. You're not going to use it as you just saw it there. You're going to sneak up on them, find a key opportunity, drop down in the center, use it. instantaneously use it. When this game first came out, it was a signature move to shadow step in, Death Blossom, Wraith form out, if you survived. After people caught on to that, they instantly started looking and shooting in the direction uh, that you shadow stepped in from. Then it became Wraith form in, Death Blossom, shoot your way out. Why? Because you have all these orbs from your Death Blossom, you can just heal yourself and continue fighting. Well, then everybody started looking at a Reaper in Wraith form. Okay, well now we have to be more creative and we have to sneak up on them without Wraith form or Shadow Step. Thus, you get the diving Death Blossom. Where people drop down from above and Death Blossom right when they reach head height. Why? Because it's instantaneous. You don't expect it. Reaper creeps around to the backline, comes in from behind, Death Blossoms. People began becoming more creative in how they got around, using Shadow Step to move around enemy lines. Wraith form as an escape tool if they get caught. Singling out single people so that they can take them out because he's a really good duelist. He is. With or without healing while damaging. With or without his lifesteal. He is a good duelist. He gets you into close quarter combat where he wants you and you die. But now, his damaging while healing makes him an upfront, in-your-face tank buster. His kit isn't centered around tank busting, his kit is centered around being the silent assassin. Not only that, shortly after they changed his passive, they also made a change that quieted his Shadow Step and his Wraith form. But that's now pointless to do because he's a tank buster now, not an assassin. Nobody uses his Shadow Step and they only use his Wraith form when they're about dead. Because he's no longer used for his primary goal of being an assassin, he has a move that nobody uses. Before, the reason why nobody used it, before they changed his passive, the reason why nobody used it was because it was too loud. But I would also argue that you were trying to shadow step too close to the people that you were trying to assassinate. Because the move isn't meant to get you right behind them. In some cases it is. But in most cases, it's to get you behind them, but not right behind them. I'll admit that it still seemed a little loud, and they've made it extremely quiet, so it's really hard to hear. So you can more closely get to your intended target. But if you're playing Reaper and you're not fighting the tanks right now, you're not doing your job. Why? Because you can out-damage healing. All except for Roadhog's healing anymore because of the changes that they made to him. And you can deal a lot of damage really quickly. The biggest problem I have, though, is everyone knows the damage potential of Death Blossom, so as soon as you're seen and you're right there, everyone instantly focuses a Reaper. Reaper isn't even part of the meta right now. But he probably could have been if he still had his old passive. Reaper is no longer Reaper because of one simple little change that they made. They're not thinking about everything when they make their changes, apparently. Mercy no longer feels like she has an ultimate. She just doesn't. D.Va, I honestly have no clue what they're trying to do to her with all the changes that they keep doing to her. I honestly don't know. I really don't. What is D.Va's... Yeah. D.Va's a 2-star right now. There was a point in time where that 2-star rating was too high because she was the go-to pick for tank for a starter. Reinhardt, I kind of disagree with the star ranking that they gave him. He is more of a 2-star difficulty because with the exclusion of his shield and his hammer, they're very skill shot based moves that he has. Roadhog. Roadhog is definitely a 1-star difficulty tank. Honestly, I'd say the tank for a starter would probably be Roadhog now. It used to be D.Va, but now it's Roadhog. So, I guess they accomplished their goal of trying to increase D.Va's difficulty. I guess they did that. Sombra, it's not Sombra, Symmetra still seems pretty useless anymore. She's hardly ever picked for anything. This would be the very last time. Shoot. Shoot. Sorry. This would be the very last time that they updated the videos to show a new ability or a change to an ability and how it works. Which I would argue would be the last time that they actually made a change. Hold on a second. Okay, never mind. This would be the last time that they actually made a change and actually put full thought into it. Because these changes that they made do not alter the character itself, do not alter how the play of the character feels, other than it makes them feel better than how they used to be. These changes are changes that I like seeing. Changes that make the character seem more like who they're supposed to be. Not changes like the changes to Reaper and Mercy that just completely change who they are. Adding the micro missiles to Diva was a change I agree with. Why? Because it makes sense that her mech would have missiles on board that she could fire. Granted, they're not very accurate unless you're at close range, but it still makes sense. It makes sense that you'd have these inaccurate rockets at range. Although a lot of changes that they've made, I don't know if I entirely agree with. Like changes that they've been making to her defense matrix every time they change it. I just like I don't know. When they originally changed her defense matrix to be more like Reinhardt's shield, where you can put it up and bring it down whenever you wanted, that didn't entirely seem like a good idea. Why? Because Diva's shield isn't like a regular shield that just deflects damage. It eats the damage. She can completely stop damage. Her shields don't take damage. Reinhardt's shield can break, and then he has to let it recharge before he can put it up again. Hers doesn't. Basically, Diva's defense matrix provides pretty much infinite shielding. Not only that, if you let the charge on it run completely dry, it still doesn't it still doesn't take as long to recharge as Reinhardt's shield. They've done all they can to nerf that, but the only nerf I can think of that would make complete sense would be reverting it back to how it was when the game was first released. Just to be honest. To be completely honest on that. Being able to bring up defense matrix, then drop it, then bring it back up and drop it again, then bring it back up and drop it again. Whenever you need to stop damage from coming in. It's a little overpowered to me. Not only that, I'm pretty sure you get alt charge every time you stop damage from coming in. After sitting here and talking about all this, I'm coming to the conclusion that I still don't feel like playing Overwatch right now. There's just, I don't know, I just don't. The changes that they've made have kind of ruined the game for me, kind of. I can't get into the mindset of wanting to play the game. It might have something to do with other games having come out that I kind of like and all that, but I just don't feel like this game is worth playing right now. I really don't. To be quite honest, I'd rather play Call of Duty right now, which is sad. Because Call of Duty sucks compared to Overwatch. Kinda wish it was different. I do. But Overwatch is heading in a direction that I don't agree with. And I hope it changes at some point, because I would like to come back to Overwatch. But I just can't. I really can't. I don't feel like I'm playing Overwatch anymore when I play the game. It doesn't feel like the Overwatch producers, the Overwatch developers, are the ones making the changes anymore. When they add a new character, I see the Overwatch developers in the new character. But when they make a change to current characters, it's a hit and miss on whether or not I see the developers in the changes that they've made. I do not see the developers in the Reaper changes. I do not see the developers in the Mercy changes. I didn't see the developers in the changes that they made to Bastion. Though I'm not going to complain because they put Bastion into a place that he needed to be. All the attention that they've spent on Roadhog, all the attention they've spent on Diva, those don't seem like the developers working on the game. I want to see more of the developers' work and less of the community's work. I don't feel like I'm playing the developers' game anymore. I feel like I'm playing the community's game. And it doesn't feel true. It doesn't truly feel like Overwatch. I haven't even completed my placement matches for Season 6 yet. I don't know if I'm going to. I don't think I want to. In the deathmatch and team deathmatch, no. I don't need to play those. I don't want to play those. Those are Call of Duty game modes, not Overwatch game modes. Overwatch does not feel like Overwatch anymore. If I don't feel like I'm playing Overwatch when I play Overwatch, I can't get into the game. And I'm sorry, but unless I can find Overwatch in Overwatch again, I don't think I can play the game anymore. I've had my fun with the game. I've spent numerous hours in the game. In fact, I can show you exactly how many hours I've spent playing the game. I have 294 hours logged into the game since the time of the game's release. It hasn't been exclusively Overwatch that whole entire time, obviously, because I play other games. I enjoy playing other games. I have 36 hours alone as mercy. Just mercy. Mercy is my favorite character in the whole entire game. But this is not mercy, what we have now. This is not Overwatch, what we have now. And this could quite possibly be the last Overwatch video I make, unless they can change the game to a state where I recognize it as Overwatch. Understand I'm a small channel, and my video isn't going to make much of an impact. But think about this. Is Overwatch truly the game that you remember it to be? Is Overwatch truly Overwatch anymore? Or is it something completely different, posing as Overwatch? I've made my decision. You can make yours. But for now, I think I'm done with Overwatch. And I may even eventually delete it from my system. I hope you found something informative about this, no matter what it was. If you liked the video, leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. But probably not if you expect something Overwatch. Because I believe I may be done with the game entirely. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video, whatever game it is I'm playing.